All right, welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast. Now, listen, I know you just saw our live here. We're going live again. I tell you what, man, we just got out of the Hasim Rahman Jr. presser, and Beeb, it was pretty eye-opening. I'll be honest with you. The one thing that I kind of took away from this is that he was really strong-armed here in the sense that, he signed a contract and it was his doing, but the contract that he signed was not like it wasn't good, put it that way. There was a lot of things against him and everything like that. Now, as far as the weight issue goes, I believe him. I asked him about it. I said, did you think you could actually make weight the 200? He was in the high 220s when the fight was signed. And he said, yeah. He said, I didn't think it was going to be any problem. And you know what? I believe him. But he also said what was real interesting, that the Jake Paul camp, the people over there, when they signed the contract, because he told them about the weight concerns, that they were going to help him. They were going to get him some people to help him make that weight safely. And from what I understand, from what he said they were dragging their feet on it, and it didn't happen. So if that is the case, if indeed that is the case, that he signed this, right, that he signed this contract in good faith, thinking that these people are going to help him, well, that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, he needed training expenses, and here's the thing: we found out that he was getting $250,000 for this fight, right? Yeah. But you take into account all of the expenses that he was going to need: the nutritionist, the strength and conditioning coach, and he had Yoel Judah in his camp. So he had some big people in the camp that he normally wouldn't have, and that costs money, right? For the biggest fight of your career, you got to spend a lot more money to get ready for it. You need training expenses, and that's essentially what I believe was promised to him, that Jake Paul was going to give him the finances in order to hire these people and then pay these people. And I guess they never came through with that. And also, and I asked him, was the contract, was there a contract drafted? How could they draft a contract so quickly and throw it together? And the expectation that you and your team couldn't look it over and review it and read it. You were just expected to make a snap decision and sign the contract without reviewing. This is in essence an unconscionable contract because he was being bullied. He was basically not allowed to even review things, not allowed to even negotiate things. It was take it or leave it on every level and from every aspect of this contract. Basically, it was just, you know what? You do what I say, and if you don't, you're out of here, right? So he had no chance, and he had zero leverage to even do anything, right? Because he was given no respect here. He was given no respect here at all.
None. And, when they were talking about tickets and everything like that, I get it that it's just kind of a courtesy to give, your wife tickets or your man, and they couldn't even give him like tickets, like front row tickets or anything like that. They had him in the back row. They didn't pay for any hotels or anything like that. It was bad. It sounds like he really was treated poorly here. And again, through the entire show today, I was going on about the weight issue because he signed the contract. He knew what it was. But now that you hear the other side of the story, he signed the contract. He did know what it was. And he fully believed. And I do believe him when he says he thought he could make 200 pounds because he was going to have that help. And then he didn't get that. It sounds like he didn't really get that help that he was promised. Well, so, and they're pushing the, he only lost 1 pound. Well, he had lost, like I said, he was in the high 220s. And at the end of the day, he was at 216 when he first, came on that,
So Jake Paul lied. He lied that he weighed 216 on July 7th or whatever. Oh, no, he lied.
No. That was, because he took a picture. That was what he sent to the commission. And Hasim had said, he didn't really understand why he was weighing in every day and everything, but that was due to the commission, nobody else. I mean, at the end of the day, commission's the boss. They decide whether the fight goes or it doesn't go.
When was the first press conference for this fight?
I'd have to look it up. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see if I can find it.
Because he did not weigh 216 on July 7th. He weighed 216 on July 29th. He weighed 220 something on July 7th. So that was a lie by Jake Paul.
All right, let me see here. Well, wait a second here. All right, weighing 216 on July 7th.
Which is, I don't know if that's true.
But that's from that's from the State Athletic Commission.
Are you sure that's from him? From the
Athletic Commission? It says promotions, most valuable promotions, and the New York State Athletic Commissions. He said that he would not be losing more than 10% of his weight over the next 4 weeks leading into the fight since weighing in at 216 pounds on July 7th. Rahman and his camp have offered assurance after assurance, publicly and privately, that he was on track to make the weight at the weigh-in August 5th.
But see, that's coming from Jake Paul saying that, right? This press conference was 3 weeks ago, and it was on, I want to say this press conference was in July, the first week. Let me see when this press conference.
It says on July 5, that's when he signed the bout agreement to fight Jake Paul.
And when was the press conference?
That I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Because I don't believe that weight is accurate. I think he's saying that they lied about that weight, because this press conference was exactly 3 weeks ago, and he weighed 220 something at the press conference. That's what he's saying.
Well, listen, man, it had to be, if he signed the bout agreement on July 5th, they had to have the press conference after the bout agreement. You can't really have a bout, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't really promise a fight without a contract here.
So he weighed about 220 something on that date when they were saying he weighed 216. He was like 225.
I don't understand if he's saying that or the commission is saying that, because remember the commission stepped in.
Well, that's
stepped in and said you can't. Now that's off the press release.
That's Jake Paul's press release, though. I think Jake Paul's lying. Jake Paul's lying.
Well, only way to find that out is to contact the Athletic Commission.
Yeah.
And see what they said.
Yeah. So I find it hard. I find it hard to believe that he only lost 1 pound in 3 weeks. I just don't believe it. I think Jake Paul's full of shit that he said that. I think Jake Paul's trying to smear him, and he's trying to disparage the guy. He's trying to defame the guy. I think Jake Paul's lying here, in my opinion. I don't think Hasim Rahman's lying.
Well, like I said, I mean, listen, man, there's plenty of blame to go around here, but I keep going back to that 200 pounds. I think he legitimately 20 pounds.
You never said
27
no.
pounds. Let's say he weighed 227. He said a high 220s. Say 227, 228. It's not impossible to take off 30 pounds in a month, especially with the right nutritionist and everything like that. It's not impossible. And I believe that a guy like, say, Mike Dolce or whatever, he does this all the time. All right, for the MMA guys. I think he could have got down to that weight. That being said, if Jake Paul and his people were supposed to supply him with nutritionists and stuff like that to help him get down to that weight, and they didn't do it, which is what it sounds like, or they were dragging their feet on it and stuff like that, I'd have a big problem with it too. That's not fair. You can't do that.
Yeah. But all that information is coming from Jake Paul's press release.
Jake Paul's press release, correct.
So we don't know.
The only missing piece here we have
is the commission.
Is the commission, right? We have Paul's story, we have Rahman's story, but we need the commission story.
See, it's saying the press conference was July 12th. And he's saying on July 12th, that was the press conference. He's saying he weighed 225 pounds or so on July 12th. So this whole thing about him weighing 216, that's coming from Jake Paul. He's denying that.
Well, he's saying it's 216 on July 7th. This is coming from the MVP press release, correct?
He's saying he was 216 or 215 or 216 on July 29th, which was a couple days ago, right? So he's not saying that like he's denying that he was 216 on July 7th. That's Jake Paul saying that. So the commission has not confirmed or denied that. And the commission did not say that this fight could not take place at 215. They did not say it, according to him and according to Greg Cohen and everybody else involved in this. They're saying that the commission never said that this fight could not happen at 215.
No, and I don't believe they did. But what happened was the commission was going to sanction it at 205 because they said they didn't want him losing that much weight. However, Jake, according to the press release, Jake Paul in his press release said that Hasim Rahman and them called their people and said, we're not going to fight under 215. That's what we can do.
But that was refuted today.
Yeah, it was, but again, who knows? You know,
So,
we got one of these going on.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. We just looked at him physically. He looked like he looked good.
Very lean. He looked very
lean. That doesn't look like a guy who was fucking off, not trying to make weight to me.
No. And you know what? I tell you what, looking at him, again, he looks very lean. It would be a difficult cut. I think it's a doable cut, but I think it'd be a difficult cut to get down to 200. But it's definitely doable.
And as you said, we're hearing his side and we're hearing Jake Paul's side.
Right.
Now,
I'd be real interested in the I'd be real interested in the commission.
We need to hear what the commission has to say. I just think that I saw him on July 12th. I saw how big he was. He didn't look 216 to me. We even said it after we saw the press conference. Look how big he looks.
Yeah.
He didn't look 216 at that press conference.
Right.
That's bullshit.
I tell you, the worst part about this whole thing really for Rahman, because Jake Paul is going to go on. He's going to fight some other guy, and, you know, he's not going to hurt. You know, he's not going to worry about the big paydays or anything like that. For Rahman, this is a bad deal. It really is. You've lost $250,000. Listen, you're 31 years old. You're not going to get this anywhere else. I don't care if he fights for a Bridgerweight title or not. I mean, they got people fighting for titles in high school gyms in Thailand. So listen, it doesn't matter. The Bridgerweight, nobody cares about it anyway.
You could be right, Eric. I mean,
you know, it sucks. I'll tell you what, it sucks that the payday has disappeared for him. And I think that's, to me, that's kind of the saddest thing. Win or lose, and I thought he was going to win. The fact that that payday is now gone for him, I think that really sucks, man. That was the biggest payday of his career. He's coming off a loss. Huge opportunity. Huge opportunity.
Maestro said he was at the press conference. He said he was he said he was 225-ish. He said he was over 220 pounds at the press conference.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Maestro saw him at the press conference and he looked around 220, then I think 216 is doable. I think he could be wrong within 4 pounds. Or you know what I'm saying? So I think 216 would be doable if he got on a scale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's that far of a stretch saying that he was 216 a month out before the fight or at the press conference. So
and who knows what he weighs now? We don't know what he weighs now. You know?
Well, didn't he say he was going to try to get down to 205 by Friday? And I think to myself, for what? The fight's gone at this point.
He never, according to him, he never said no. And Jake Paul said he turned the fight down. He said he refused to try to make 205. No, he just didn't sign the You sent them over a contract and you said sign it right now and you didn't give him time to review it. Who does that? Who does that?
You know, I think I'll be honest with you. I think when they said if this was true again. He said no problem. They'll fight at 205 because this happened apparently a couple of days ago. Then they came out and said, or maybe earlier this week, but then they came out and said, "Hey, you know, I'm not going to be able to." Supposedly, they came out and said, "I'm not going to make 205. I'm going to make 215. That's that, and that's where I'm fighting." At that point, listen, I'll still stand by Paul's decision to cancel it. Because, again, if you sign up for a fight 205 pounds and the guy comes in 10 pounds over, listen, at what point, why are we having weights here then? You know, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But I think the way it was done to Rahman, I think was shady. And I think it shows you the worst side of our sport. You know, the dealings on the back, you know, the backstage, you know, the backstage dealings. And, you know, it's awful.
Do you think that he said, no, I'm not going to make 205. You asked him, did you have every intention to make it 205? He said,
Well,
yes.
no, I asked him if he was, I said, did you think you could make 200? Did you think you could make the weight when you signed the contract? And he said, yes. And I believe him. I believe him. Again, he's at 220 something, 228, whatever it was. That's in 30 days or a month, that's doable. That's totally doable. So I believe him. But I think, again, if they were supposed to supply him nutritionists and all those other guys and they didn't do it, they got to brunt some of this too. I mean, ultimately, listen, man, if it was in the contract, that's a different animal. But if they said this and he didn't, I don't know, man. It's they can say a whole lot of things, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. And if he's okay with leaving the payday on the table, then I'm okay with it for him. I hate that it happened to him.
Do you think he lied about anything?
I don't think so. What I got the impression of on that press conference is that when he was saying I have to weigh in every day or I have to weigh in every week, that wasn't part of my training. I mean, that's something like we all knew. It's studying this for like the last 5 minutes, and his manager, I guess his manager or whatever came in, or his promoter or whatever it was, came in and said, and then explained it was commission. How did he not know that?
Well, the commission stepped in, I guess, and said,
well, what I'm saying is how did Hasim not know that?
No, not know what? That the commission was.
That the commission was involved, and this is why you're weighing in every week. This isn't Jake Paul's doing. This is the commission's doing.
Well, let me ask you this: is this normal that the commission's going to weigh you so frequently before a fight?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. The WBC does it.
They do a 30-day weigh-in, and then they do a 15-day weigh-in, and that's it. Right?
Yeah, but I think that given the especially with this fight, because they, like I said, from what BJ Flores said, they didn't want to sanction this fight anyway because they thought Hasim had too much experience. But you couple that with the fact that he's up, now he's got to come all the way back down to 200, and where he is, they want to make sure he does it safely. They don't want anybody to get hurt, and they know, and like it or not, this is what we call a sideshow. Okay, in sideshows, things happen, man. Things happen. You got an experienced guy versus not that experienced guy. Things can happen, man. Crazy things happen in there. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. Well, so I don't begrudge the commission at all. And New York Athletic Commission is a very hands-on commission. They've declined a lot of fights a lot of times.
So what it all comes down to is the commission really was concerned about this fight from the beginning.
I think from the beginning they absolutely.
This fight was under a microscope, so to speak.
For sure.
From the commission. For
sure it was.
They were concerned that Jake Paul was going to get hurt.
I agree.
That's what it came down to.
And then Grivas says you can only get knocked out. No, you can't. If you've watched fighting, listen, man, you've seen it, I've seen it. Lots of crazy things happen in that ring, man. You can only get knocked out. That's not true. Not true at all.
And a lot of people have their opinions on these weight cuts, right? Everyone's saying, this guy can guys lose 25, 30 pounds, 35 pounds. And they talk about it like it's nothing. It's a flash in the pan. But how many people really actually that are saying this actually tried to do a weight cut before?
Good luck.
Has anyone of you guys ever done a weight cut?
You know how difficult that is? It's difficult.
It's extremely. I've done weight cuts before.
It's hard.
Done them. Done them.
It's miserable.
When I started at 205 and I got down to 185, it's a lot of weight.
Absolutely, especially on your frame. You're not like a huge guy. You know what I mean? You're already, even at 200, even at, what are you at now? What, 2 something? 2 what?
I'm actually about 198 now. 199. I'm about 199, 198 right now.
200. You're at 200 right
200
now.
Pounds,
okay?
200 pounds.
200 pounds. You're a lean guy as it is. So you losing 15 pounds on top of that is a big deal.
Yeah.
He's a lean guy. He's in shape. Right. It's just like, when the flyweights miss weight. Like, they're 108 pounds. You know what I mean?
Then he and he also said that they made a couple changes in that contract. It wasn't just the 205. they changed around. I guess he said they changed around the rehydration clause or something like that. There was a couple things else that they changed in that contract. So I don't know. I just felt like they were using strong arm tactics against the guy, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you so much, D-Style, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, I agree. And, but I tell you what, man, and in defense of Rahman, I know, listen, man, and I think you were in the same situation. I think either one of us would have done the same thing, no matter how impossible the task seemed to be. For 250 grand, Beeb, there's very little I would do, or very little I wouldn't do for $250,000. And I think you're probably the same way. There's very little that we would do for $250,000. Whether we think, listen, as long as the opportunity is there, I'm going to sign it. That's just it. I mean, let's be honest.
A lot of fighters and a lot of people in general think they can do things, and sometimes they try to do them, but their body just doesn't allow them to do it. Right?
I think that's what might have happened here. But again, we go back to the nutritionist thing. If it was in the contract, okay, if it was in the contract, which I don't believe it's in the contract, I believe this was like a gentleman's agreement. We're going to help you out. We're going to help you get to this. Don't worry about it. Just sign. We're going to do this and that. Yeah. I believe it was a gentleman's thing. I don't know that it was in the contract, because if it was in the contract, then you have a legitimate gripe. But I believe it was probably like a gentleman's thing. We're going to help. Of course, we're going to help you get down, And I don't think it happened, or I think it happened very late. And the guy, you know what I mean? It sucks.
Something seemed to be a little bit off here. We just don't know what it was.
Yeah, it sucks for him. It sucks for Rahman. It sucks for Serrano and all the other fighters on that card who are going to miss a payday. And hopefully Jake makes it right. But yeah, what can you do, man? None of them weighed in, so you can't really pay them for show money or anything like that. So
who do you blame? Who do you blame here? Do you blame Jake Paul? Do you blame Rahman? Who's the fault here?
At the end of the day, I still think you have to blame Rahman, because you signed it, you knew what you were signing, and you didn't end up making weight.
Well,
no matter what excuses you want to throw out there after that, but you signed it. You were railroad, no question. That contract was sided one way, no question. Okay. That being said, again, you signed the contract, you knew the weight, and you wanted to take a shot. And you know what? I don't blame you at all. I would have done the same thing.
But the commission,
at the end of the day, you got one person to look at, and that's you.
But the commission stepped in, and they made the decision that he can't make 200 pounds. He never said, I'm not. He told you he had every intention of trying to make the 200.
Yeah, for sure.
But the commission stepped in after monitoring his weight and said he can't do it.
Well, now, and according to the press release, they said 205. They said we can't sanction it for 205. Jake Paul and his people supposedly said, yeah, that's no problem. Boom, it's done. And then that's when, they said this Friday, Rahman's people sent the note over to Paul's people saying, we're not going to fight. We can only fight at 215, and that's it. And that's when the fight got pulled, according to MVP and Jake Paul. So, again, man, at the end of the day, it's, ultimately,
but I don't understand.
You didn't make the weight.
I don't understand why.
So the fight's off, man.
I don't understand why you can't try to you can't try to negotiate. So they came back with 205, right?
You negotiate. So you got one guy. You think? Let me ask you a question. Let me see. Do you think Tank Davis is going to negotiate with a guy ranked 25th? He's not going to care.
I just
think,
know
what I mean? He's not going to care.
I don't know. I just think in life,
they're not going to negotiate that.
Do you ever accept the first offer that's given to you? Isn't it commonplace to just try to, when you go for a job interview, when you go for I just don't understand why, just the sheer fact that he was trying to negotiate back with Jake Paul, why that is just such a big deal.
It's not. It's not at all.
All he was doing.
He did exactly what he should have done. He did exactly what he should have done.
Yeah, all he was doing. He never said no to the 205, but he was trying to negotiate to 210. That's what he said.
Paul's people are saying it was 215 or bust. That's what they're saying.
That's
now,
not what he's saying, though.
Yeah, well, that's where the mishmash comes in. But again, to your point, should he negotiate? 100% he should negotiate. He should try to get everything, just like Paul's people try to get everything for him. He should try to get everything for himself as well.
So why is it looked upon as him saying no when all he's trying to do is negotiate?
The drama is on him, again, because number one, he didn't make weight. That's it. And number two, from what Paul's people said, he said 215 or bust. And according to Paul, he gave him the commission gave him the 5 extra pounds. Paul agreed. Now he wants 10 extra pounds on top of that. So 15 pounds total.
The weigh-in is August 5th. So we don't know exactly what he would have come in at because there was no weigh-in.
Right, but he's saying that we don't, but I know if they agreed on the 215 weigh-in limit, he was coming in at 215. Right?
Do you think if he said he was going to come in at 205, do you think he could have lost the 10 pounds in a week?
I don't believe so. According again, this is I think it would be interesting to see the athletic commission's numbers. Now, whether we can get them or not, that's completely,
Because Devin Haney lost 11 pounds.
Is it doable? Of course it's doable.
Devin Haney lost 11 pounds in 3 days, according to Serafina there on the
yeah. Now, is it possible? Of course it's possible. Of course he can do it. I'm sure he could have. But was he going to do it? That's the other thing. Because now, again, if you're Jake Paul and just playing his devil's advocate for a minute, if you're Jake Paul, what do? You come in weighing 205 or 200. This guy comes in weighing 220. Let's just say, for example, he comes in weighing 20 pounds heavier. Now you got everybody that weighed in. Now, as a promoter, once they weigh in, and I don't know if they do this in boxing. I know they do it in MMA. They typically do it in MMA. Once you weigh in, that's your show money. That's considered you showed up, you made weight. Then he's got to pay all these people.
I guess my argument is this. I am not 100% certain that he could not have made the 205. I'm not 100% certain he could have lost 10 more pounds. Would have been very hard.
Yeah.
My honest opinion, I think he was trying to get the fight at 210.
And what do you do again? And here we go again. There's a rehydration clause. What if he goes over that? By like a lot. That's the danger. That's the problem too, because
drop
all this weight.
If you raise the weigh-in weight,
right,
then the rehydration clause has to get restructured as well.
That's got to get restructured as well.
And that's
because
what
it's probably
said,
higher than what he's going to weigh. You know what I mean? There's a lot of moving parts here. And again, just from a promotional aspect, once those fighters get on the scale, I don't know what their contracts are, but sometimes when those fighters get on the scale, they have to get paid. If they make the weight, they have to get paid. And maybe they were looking down that road too, which is why they canceled, which is another reason they could have canceled. Because at this point, they don't know what his weight's going to be. It's a volatile situation in the sense that he could come in on point at 205 or 215 or whatever they decide, and then, or he can come in at 230, whatever he wants. Because he's going to fight me anyway.
What's this take it or leave it shit like? Why does Jake Paul so quick to shut the door on this fight? Like, why?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because, listen, nobody pays money. Like it or not, nobody's paying money to go see Hasim Rahman. It just is. Nobody's paying money to see Hasim Rahman. In fact, when he fought Mackenzie Morrison, that was in Oklahoma, I believe.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying to watch Hasim Rahman fight. Nobody. It just, I hate to say it, but it is.
I just don't think Jake Paul did enough to try to save this show. I just don't. You gave the guy 5 hours to agree to a new contract.
Yeah, and I tell you what, but there is enough blame to go around here. There is enough blame to go around because you can say that about Jake Paul, but again, we can just point back to the weight.
I mean, if he was
point right back to the weight and say, look,
if he weighed 210 right now instead of 215, I don't think the commission would have wouldn't have changed the weight.
No, I think they were concerned about his safety. I mean, a month to lose 27 pounds is a lot. It's a lot. And they're in the, listen, man, they don't want anything stupid happening on their watch either.
Yeah.
You know,
So that's the thing.
R1000 says, yeah, no one's heard of Rockman until Jake. You're right. You're right. Like I said, man, I just hate for him that this payday goes by the wayside, man. He would have done this as his biggest payday ever. He wins the fight, and it's like that. I think it was Serafina said, wins the fight, the world's his oyster. I mean, he can, he's going to get a bigger fight after that. Chances are he's going to get a bigger fight after that. A lot of money there, so, but now that's by the boards, man. And I got to be honest, if you're another promoter, I might be passing him up because I know he's going to have weight problems. If you know what I'm saying, unless he's at heavyweight or something like that, you don't know.
Well, when's he ever going to fight at cruiserweight again, too? That's what you have to
true.
ask.
He's a big guy. He's a big guy, man.
Now, if you're Showtime and you're looking at Jake Paul, you had 2 Tommy Fury fights fall through. Now you have a Hasim Rahman fight fall through. All right, so that's 3 fights in a row that fell through on Jake Paul's watch.
Yeah, but you know what?
And even if it's not his
Tommy
fault,
Fury, the Tommy Fury fight, there's nothing you can do about.
Not really his fault, the Tommy Fury situation.
And I don't really know that you can blame him for this one either. Yeah. And I mean, you know how much, again, man, in order to cancel a fight, you know how much really goes into that? I mean, not just to pull the plug on the fight, that's a hard decision, but all the money for press conference, all the money for training, all the money that was spent, not by Jake. He can afford it. What about the other ones underneath, like Serrano? What about the other ones on the undercard and everything who dropped everything to get, this is their big shot now. They're going to be on the card. They're going to be, we had to stop. We had to train. We had to pay people to train us. All these guys, Rockman was going to get 250 out of this. Paul was going to get however many millions or whatever. But the guys on the undercard weren't going to see that. Now, they're fighting for spots and everything, man.
Now someone at the press conference made a statement, and I don't know how true this was. They're saying that the commission didn't say no to the 215. We have
no idea if that's true or not. You have no fucking
idea. But that I just wanted to.
That? Who's the one that said that?
That the guy that you didn't like.
Oh yeah, that guy was a moron. That guy was a complete moron.
He was pretending.
Every
like he knew everything.
Yeah, and he didn't know anything. I mean, he really didn't. Like, he's asking stupid questions, and then you got Sekbak's question, what he likes for breakfast,
Yeah. Sekbak's is fucking funny, man.
Goofy.
Did you see Akin Barak like interrupting fucking that girl, man? Like Sarah, she was trying to jump in, right?
Right.
She's controlling the fucking.
Can't stand Akin Barak. Can't stand either one of those guys.
She's controlling the whole friggin' conference call there, the press conference.
Yeah.
There, right.
Yeah.
And he's just going over the top of her when just talking over her. Like, how rude was that, bro? Who do these fucking people think they are, man? No one has the etiquette like we do. See how professional we were at that press conference? We were nice and respectful. We didn't interrupt anybody.
You know what? And I had a bone to pick with him. I really did. I said, hey,
you asked good questions. You did a good job.
Yeah, because listen, if you didn't think you could make weight, I want to know why you signed that contract. But I believe him, man. I think he really thought he could make it, and he didn't end up doing it. That's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Joe, I am 100% sure Joe will have something to say about this tomorrow, Tuesday, and the rest of the week. I love his videos. If you guys have not subscribed to us, please do, because, it's not uncommon that we do videos like this all the time. We do our Sunday video. Beeb does videos, and he does a great job with it every day. Sometimes he puts out multiple videos per day. It's all good stuff, too.
Thank you, Eric.
So, yeah, man, absolutely, man. Make sure you stay subscribed and hit the bell so you know when we're live and all that other good stuff. And, hey, we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.